We have noted this news with grave concern that this accused, and in fact he had confessed at certain point, that the Indian Army Colonel Purohit has been promoted to the rank of Brigadier. Pakistan unequivocally condemns this deeply troubling development. Such a decision risks sending a disquieting signal about accountability in Indian system, while compounding the anguish of 68 innocent civilians who lost their lives in the Lahore-bound train on Indian soil almost 2 decades ago. So these victims and their families await justice for last two decades. Far from advancing the closure, I think the decision underscores a pattern that may be perceived as diminishing the imperative of justice. This promotion also raises serious questions about India's state-sponsored terrorism, tolerance towards acts of violence against Pakistan and against Muslims, and a partisan and an exclusionary mindset within India's governance and judicial framework. The victim families of Samjhauta Express deserve justice, a justice that is credible, transparent and beyond reproach. Pakistan reiterates its call for a thorough and impartial judicial process to bring all perpetrators and facilitators of this heinous crime into account and into justice. The international community must also take note that that perception of impunity that we have been calling for, this has far-reaching implications, far-reaching consequences, potentially emboldening extremist elements within India and undermining efforts towards a durable peace and stability. Thank you. I'll come back to your next question. I believe there would be quite a few questions, so I'll let me take some other questions. Yes, madam. मैडम को दे दें, फिर आपसे आपके पास.
We have seen some really disturbing reports related to an incident in which Tanveer Ahmed Chauhan, an 18-year-old youth from illegally Indian-occupied Jammu and Kashmir, was brutally attacked in an act linked to cow vigilantism. According to the latest reports, the victim's body has not been recovered and is feared to have been drowned. What do you have to say about this brutal incident?
We can come back. Yes, we have also seen this report. It emerged yesterday. We strongly condemn this heinous incident, which is part of a broader, deeply troubling pattern of hate-driven violence in India, where religious minorities are increasingly targeted by extremist elements operating with complete impunity. Such acts of so-called cow protection, it's done as you mentioned, cow vigilantes, cow protection, killing innocent people, lynching them in public. This is a very medieval and an ancient practice which is going on in a country which masks itself as the world's largest democracy. So this licensed brutality is extremely disturbing. This vehicle for intimidation and violence, raising serious concerns about the protection and fundamental rights and the rule of law. The extremism of this menace, its import into Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir. It always existed in India, but now it is in this Indian illegally occupied territory of Jammu and Kashmir, adds yet another dimension to the already grave human rights situation in the occupied territory, where Kashmiris continue to be subjected to systemic marginalization and repression. The international community, we call upon them to take cognizance of this growing pattern of vigilante violence and its implication for human rights. We reaffirm our steadfast support for the people of Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir for their fundamental rights, including the right to life and dignity. And this licensed brutality in India, this lynching of Muslims must end. Ji Prasasa.
Thank you so much, Excellency. Obviously, we have plenty of questions about this talk process, but my question is something that developed this morning, that there have been introduced a bill for delimitation of constituencies in illegal Indian-occupied Jammu and Kashmir, and very strangely or amazingly, there are references about Azad Jammu and Kashmir in that bill. So my question is, what do you comment about this development, and whether this development is to detract Pakistan from what spokesperson of White House, Caroline Levitt, expressed feeling of President Trump that Pakistan has proven a great mediator. So is it to detract Pakistan from doing a noble job of bringing peace and tranquility in the world? Thank you, sir.
This is again an emerging development. We have seen these media reports, the tabling of delimitation bill 2024 at the Indian Parliament. We categorically reject India's so-called delimitation process in Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir, including any provisions related to Azad Jammu and Kashmir. The whole process is illegal, politically grandstanding, devoid of any legal value. It is undertaken in an internationally recognized disputed territory, so such exercises are nothing but an attempt to alter the demographic and political structure of the region and to further disenfranchise the Kashmiri people. India has no legal authority to redefine constituencies, redefine any part of the territory of the Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir, whose final disposition is to be determined in accordance with the relevant United Nations Security Council resolutions. The extension of this framework of this so-called bill in the Parliament with proposed legislative amendments seeking to apply Indian electoral and constitutional authority to Azad Jammu and Kashmir reflects India's persistent illusion and a state of denial. It underscores a deliberate effort to project a fictitious claim of sovereignty in complete disregard of international law and ground realities. Azad Jammu and Kashmir is a distinct governing territory within its own democratic institutions. India's repeated claim over it is baseless, legally untenable, and symptomatic of a distorted mindset that seeks to mask the reality of a long-standing dispute. Such assertions, of course, carry no legal consequence and only reinforces India's detachment from facts. These measures taken together apart from a broad pattern aimed at consolidating India's illegal occupation of the territory of Jammu and Kashmir while simultaneously advancing its untenable claim. We termed such actions as provocative, irresponsible and clear violations of international law. No legislative or constitutional maneuver can alter the disputed status of Jammu and Kashmir or prejudice the inalienable right of the Kashmiri people to self-determination.